It's Isom Howard, and it is time to play some games. I'm back with some more Pokemon Go PvP, and in today's video we're going to be looking at last month's meta. Labyrinth Cup was the meta for last month. I haven't finished my video until now, so get it now. But I should have a Vortex Cup video coming very, very soon. Hopefully should be of my matches in the Silph Arena Showdown, which is happening tomorrow as of when I'm recording this. So hopefully that goes well, and you should be seeing those battles very soon. But for today, we have a great tournament here. We have 6 rounds all ready to go of Labyrinth Cup. My team was Mandibuzz, Alolan Ninetales with Powder Snow, Politoed, Alolan Marowak, Vigoroth, and Galvantula. It's a super strong team, so let's get right into the battles. Here we are with round 1. Our opponent starts off with the Univin Stunfisk, which this is a fairly good matchup for our opponent, so we are just going to swap out immediately into Politoed. We can get this Weather Ball off so quickly and start pressuring those shields. So we get a shield from our opponent, and our opponent comes in with Rainy Cast Form, but I did spend the Elite TM to be able to put the Legacy move Earthquake on this. It's going to do huge damage. Here we go. If it does not get shielded, which as you can see, it did not get shielded there. I am not going to shield this here. Turns out it is a Weather Ball, and we're just going to go straight for a Weather Ball bait now, and we get the shield, which is very good here. I'm going to shield this one because I know it could be a Thunder, but it is just going to be another Weather Ball. So we're going to charge up a bit more, go for the Earthquake just to make sure it is a sure KO. I could have gone for the Weather Ball and then farmed down, but I would have rather kept that last shield, and I could have possibly ended up needing to spend that shield. So we are going to let our Politoed go down there. We're going to bring in our Vigoroth, and we can just go straight for the Bulldoze, but our opponent swaps just in time to get the Bulldoze, but they were a little bit early, so we are going to be able to bring in our Mandibuzz here. This is going to absolutely wall Alolan Marowak. There isn't much that Alolan Marowak can do here in this scenario. I guess with Fire Blast, it would be a little bit better in this matchup, but still not great, because Bone Club is going to be double resisted. Shadow Ball and Shadow Bone are going to be resisted, so you really are only dealing damage off of those Fire Spins. So we are just going to load up on a good chunk of energy before KOing with Aerial Ace, and then we can hit for neutral damage onto the Stunfisk with Dark Pulse. And so we get a piggyback there. We're going to decide to not shield because we know that we have the Vigoroth in the back with the Bulldoze. We're going to bring it in right now and take out this Stunfisk. So that is a GG's for battle 1. I'm gonna hop into the next battle, and I didn't read out the opponent's team first, but they also have Toxicroak, Alolan Ninetales, and Vigoroth in addition to the 3 that we saw in the game 1. So we're gonna be seeing our Politoed up against their Alolan Ninetales, and since their Alolan Ninetales has Powder Snow, this is a pretty favorable matchup for us. They swap out on the charge move here. We go for the Weather Ball, and I decide to keep that energy stored on Politoed and come in with Mandibuzz, because our Aerial Aces are going to be dealing massive damage here, pressuring that shield, and counters are still going to be neutral, but Mud Bomb is not going to do very much to us, and Sludge Bomb is going to hurt, as usual, as you'd think a Sludge Bomb from a Toxicroak would, but Mandibuzz is so tanky that it is completely fine with taking that. So we're going to see the Ninetales come back in, and even a super effective Weather Ball is not going to be able to take out Mandibuzz because it is so tanky. The downside to that is that it's not going to be able to put out very much damage. And so it's really just there to take hits, dish them out, but they're not going to hurt nearly as much as the amount of damage it can take. So we're going to come back in with our Politoed. They're going to swap into Stunfisk after we land a Weather Ball. This is a great position for us. We have 2 shields. They're not going to be able to do fast move us down, and we can go ahead and spend shields to block the discharge or the Mud Bomb bait, whichever our opponent decides to throw our way here. So we're going to go straight for the Weather Ball, and we're going to try to farm a little bit, but we are going to bank the Weather Ball water, and come in with Vigoroth and just counter down, so that we now have our just a little bit of ways away from the Body Slam, which is enough to almost finish off the Ninetales. They are able to get a charge move off. We are not going to spend the shield because we could use it on our Politoed if Vigoroth did go down. So that is GG's there. We're going to go into a third game this round for the glory. We're going to have a fantastic lead here. Alolan Marowak into Mandibuzz here. We're just going to build up tons and tons and tons of energy here. Go for the Dark Pulse. And the reason I ran Dark Pulse in this meta is because Dark Pulse is going to be a harder hitting move than Foul Play. It takes a little bit longer to charge up, but it is worth it from what I've found, because Mandibuzz is so tanky that it is able to, that's a good trade-off. So we get the shield with our Mandibuzz before swapping out. We're going to bring in Vigoroth to try to finish off this cast form. We do get a shield from the cast form, which is great to see. We now have 2-0 shields, which is a fantastic place to be. And our opponent comes back in with their Marowak, and we are going to take whatever move this is. It's going to be a Shadow Bone, which almost takes us out. They're going to be able to get a little bit of farm off, but they decide to throw the move, trying to pressure a shield or take us out. Before we had a charge move, we weren't quite there at a charge move, but yeah, so we're able to come in with Mandibuzz now, and it does not matter what this Marowak throws at us. The Shadow Bone is not going to be doing much. The defense drop is the best case scenario, and they did swap out there, but we are going to see the Toxicroak come in. So we can come in with our Politoed and just go straight for the Earthquake. We are going to lose CMP tie here because of Toxicroak's ridiculously high attack stat, but we do have 2 shields, and so we are comfortable spending one of them to be able to land this Earthquake, and then we can just go for 1 Weather Ball to wrap up this game. So very well played to my opponent in round 1. And now let's hop into round 2. We're going to be going up against Unkempt Beast, who has a Registeel, Alolan Ninetales, Dragonair, Diggersby, Jellicent, and Galvantula. We see that Jellicent in the lead, and our opponent swaps out into Diggersby. I'm not 100% sure why here, because Diggersby is not going to be able to do much to Mandibuzz either. The ground typing is going to be double resisted with Mandibuzz's flying typing. The fire punches do a little bit of damage. Luckily, they are cheap, and so they would be flying at us pretty often. But Mandibuzz is just going to be able to outpace this very well. And we could decide to swap out and use save our Mandibuzz for the Jellicent matchup in the back, but we do have our Galvantula in the back, which is going to be able to apply a lot of pressure to Jellicent, especially with shields up, because we don't want to get taken out in one Shadow Ball. So we see the Galvantula come in now. This is the first time we've seen it. We are able to go for a Dark Pulse. Tried to go for a second one before going down, but we would have been fast moved down before that happened. And so we see Galvantula here. We're going to come in with our Politoed. This is normally just a horrible matchup, but we're able to get to Weather Ball very quickly, and so we see Impede's Hide there. We do have our attack lowered, but Galvantula is very glassy, and so it's going to need to shield regardless there. So we're going to take a discharge, and that was our plan there, just to get rid of our opponent's energy so that we can come in with our own Galvantula. We use Lunge to take it out, and we now have a shield and a Jellicent in front of us, and that Jellicent is not going to like these discharges here. That is going to take it out. GG's in game 1. We'll see if we can keep it up here in game 2. Galvantula into Dragonair. This is a fairly neutral matchup, but still not one that we don't want to be the Galvantula in that matchup, especially with shields up. And we come in with Alolan Ninetales, and this is an even worse matchup. Registeel is going to completely wall our Alolan Ninetales here, and it is just going to destroy us with Flash Cannon. That is not what you want to see. So we have the Galvantula and the Mandibuzz in the back. We are going to take whatever charge move this is. It's going to be a Flash Cannon. It does a good chunk to us, but we are still able to take it. And I get greedy farming up there, trying to get a little too much energy, and so we have to end up spending a shield here. And I haven't learned. I'm still going to be greedy, and I tried to go for the farm down, so we end up having to spend a second shield. We're now down 0 shields to 2, which we know is just a horrible place to be in. We do have 2 charge moves ready to go. We can throw the Lunge, which does a good chunk of damage and is going to be debuffing this Dragonair here. And we go for the second one, which gets a shield, but our opponent is able to swap out. So we do have the Jellicent here, which normally this is a great matchup for us. We're able to land the Dark Pulses relatively quickly and deal some pretty heavy damage with that, but we are down a shield still, and so Jellicent is going to be able to shield and land Ice Beam, which is not great for us. They do get a piggyback there, which was unfortunate, but we were able to land the Dark Pulse. Unfortunately, it doesn't take it out because Jellicent is very tanky, and Mandibuzz does not have the greatest attack stat. So we're going to be able to try to farm down and go for one last charge move, but we are not able to make it because we got too greedy trying to farm energy there. So we start off with a terrible lead matchup. We're going to swap into Politoed. This is normally not the best matchup, but we were able to farm up a good amount of energy before the Galvantula swapped out. And so when this Jellicent comes in, we are able to land the Earthquake, which is very great for us. Deciding whether or not to shield here, that was a good shield. It was a Shadow Ball. If it were an Ice Beam bait, that would not be the greatest use of a shield, but that was good there. We were able to bait their shield with a Weather Ball, which was very good here. And we can throw the Earthquake, but they double shield, wanting to win that switch advantage because they knew they had a great matchup with Galvantula onto Mandibuzz, and I was trying to play with energy and shield advantage, so I bring in Galvantula here, which is great for us to get a good advantage going, and we do have that shield, but we are going to be met with a Digger's Beak here, which is a very hard counter to our Galvantula. Even the Lunge is not going to be doing much, and that is still our best move to hit it with. We see their Galvantula come back in, and we take the first discharge. It's not going to KO, and it's better to shield the discharge than the Lunge. And they're going to throw the Lunge there, and I'm going to try to farm down before they can throw a move, but unfortunately that is not going to happen. So we do get debuffed here, which is not great. And we do end up having to spend our shield that we could have used to shield one of these charge moves from Diggersby here, but Diggersby is just going to be able to go for a Fire Punch here, which does allow us to get off one more lunge, but it is not going to be enough, sadly. And they are able to get to a second Fire Punch here to finish the game off, and Unkempt Beast is going to take this round. So very well played to Unkempt Beast, and GG's. Let's hop into round 3. We're going up against TG Alexander HS, and we have a fantastic lead here. And we see the Shadow Zapdos swap in, which is such a cool mon, can be so dangerous. Shields are up right now, but we decide to let a charge move come through. It is just a Drill Peck, but still does tons of damage to our Marowak. We go for the Shadow Bone there to be able to get a shield or take it out, because it would do so much damage to it. We come in with Vigoroth now, which is going to be able to get off tons of Body Slam spam here and take it out and flip this matchup back into our favor. We see the Alolan Ninetales come in again because it wants to stay away from the Alolan Marowak on our side. This is a relatively neutral matchup with Vigoroth versus Alolan Ninetales, but with energy advantage, Vigoroth can easily win this one here, which is what we are seeing right now. But I decide to not spend the shield here. I'm going to save it because I know that I can just come in with Marowak and farm this Ninetales completely down. So now we have a shield, we have energy, and even though it's a Politoed, which is not what Marowak wants to see, we can still throw the Shadow Bone and immediately dip out of there into Mandibuzz. And the biggest way that they are going to be able to threaten us is with a Blizzard. They throw the Weather Ball. We still don't know if this Politoed has Blizzard or Earthquake or maybe something else as their second move. But we decide not to shield, and it is a Weather Ball. One Blizzard wouldn't be able to take out a Mandibuzz, but it still is going to deal a nice chunk. So we keep seeing Weather Ball. We've seen a lot of Weather Balls come from this Politoed, so at this point I'm thinking that it is most likely going to be Earthquake for their second move. Otherwise, our opponent likely would have gone for a Blizzard against us. So we see Galvantula into Politoed. They're going to bring in their Marowak, and so we can punish that swap in with our hard counter that we have in the back. And we're just going to load up on tons of energy, go to back-to-back Dark Pulses before throwing the first one. Because I could have thrown the first one a little bit earlier, but it's better to leave with energy that we can use on the next Pokemon coming in. We're able to farm down and get almost to another Dark Pulse, and we can throw one Dark Pulse and one Aerial Ace at this point. So we're going to throw the Dark Pulse as soon as the Politoed comes back in. We are going to get to a second one here, and this is going to be applying a lot of shield pressure, but they decide not to shield, knowing that our Galvantula is in the back. And I know that as well, so I'm not going to shield here. They are going to throw the Weather Ball, but they are not going to be able to take us out in time with Mud Shot. So they're going to have to throw the Weather Ball, which does take us out, but that is completely fine for us because we can come in with Galvantula. I didn't want to have to spend a shield, and so I just immediately go for the lunge there. And we see Shadow Zapdos come in here. We're going to throw the lunge. There's no way this is going to hit because they do have two shields, but the attack drop still is going to affect the Zapdos here. So that is going to be the right call still. So I'm not going to shield this one here. I wanted our opponent to spend energy, and that is what they ended up doing. And I am going to now that we have an extra shield, I am not going to shield, knowing that our opponent is going to have to get to a Drill Peck and a Thunderbolt to KO Vigoroth. And so I didn't shield because I was expecting them to try to go for the shield bait, which is what they needed to win. And if they went for Thunderbolt first, then it still wouldn't have KO'd, I don't believe. So we start off with a fairly neutral matchup. It should favor Mandibuzz most of the time, but Vigoroth isn't going to be completely walled here like a Alolan Marowak or Diggersby would. So we see the Ninetales swap in right as we decide to throw the Aerial Ace, and we are going to load up on just one Snarl of Energy, and then we're going to bring in Vigoroth. And so we're going to see if this ends up being a good play, or if I should have just brought in the Vigoroth as soon as possible. Because what Vigoroth needs is it needs an energy advantage. Have the same amount of shields, which we did at the start of this. What we need is an energy advantage. So we have the Body Slam. Now we're going to see if our opponent decides to shield. They do decide to spend their second shield, and now we need to decide, do we want to spend that shield? No, we're going to save it and have that shield advantage, be able to come in with our Ninetales and completely Powder Snow their Ninetales down. It's not going to be doing much, and we are going to have to take a Psyshock, but we're going to get so much energy when we leave this matchup that as soon as they swap in their Vigoroth here, we can just go straight for the Weather Ball and absolutely delete Vigoroth. So we now have a shield and some extra energy still. We see the Shadow Zapdos come in, and this Shadow Zapdos is going to get destroyed by this Weather Ball. So having that extra energy there and having that extra shield was really useful for us, but very well played to our opponent there. GG's. Top into round 4 against Ice Cool 696. So we start off with a Torterra, which is a very interesting pick here. We're going to be seeing the Politoed swap in, and this was too early to be a Blizzard, so I know it's going to be a Weather Ball, so it is going to be applying some to us, but it is not as deserving of a shield as a Blizzard would be. So we're going to go for Dark Pulses here to apply as much pressure as possible. Our opponent has already spent a shield, and we're going to see how this matchup ends up. I could have swapped out to keep the Mandibuzz and Torterra matchup for later on, but I do have Alolan Ninetales in the back, which is going to be an even better matchup. So we are going to be fine with the Politoed versus Mandibuzz here. So we decide to not spend shields, and we're going to have a race there to see if they could Mudshot us down, but they swapped out into Torterra at the last second, and that is why I was fine saving Alolan Ninetales for that Torterra. Since that Torterra was switch locked, unfortunately it was not able to swap out, and so we were able to bring in Alolan Ninetales and just Powder Snow down, get tons and tons of energy so that we can threaten this Alolan Marowak that's here in the back. And we're even able to deal some pretty solid damage to an Alolan Marowak, which normally that is a terrible matchup for Alolan Ninetales. So we're going to bring in Politoed. We're going to go for the Shadow Bone. Well, we're going to shield the charge move, and it ends up being a Shadow Bone. We are not going to shield the second one. It is another Shadow Bone. Our defense does fall, but we still have that shield that we saved, so we can shield the next move. I tried to bring in Mandibuzz to catch the charge move from this Politoed, but they Mudshot Mandibuzz down. Able to shield there with Politoed and farm down and throw the Weather Ball onto Alolan Marowak. So super close game there, and very well played. gonna hop into the next round. We're gonna see a Shadow Gardevoir, which luckily we have Alola Marowak there. We see a little bit of lag, but I waited for them to catch up. We're gonna see Politoed swap in now, and it's a very good thing that we had Alola Marowak lined up to the Shadow Gardevoir, because Shadow Gardevoir can deal tons and tons of damage with Charm, and it's not going to be resisted by anything else on my team, and it's going to be either neutral and hit hard, or it's going to be doing super effective damage in the case of Mandibuzz. So we're going to go for the Earthquake here, which is great for us because it is able to land, and they are now within range of a Weather Ball KOing. We decided to shield, thinking that they could throw their Earthquake, but they throw Weather Ball, so we do fall for the bait there. They spend a shield, and I decide not to shield, which was a risky play, but we did have enough health to be able to take it out, but I got greedy trying to farm down, and so we're ending up having to spend a shield and throw our energy, and so we ended up not coming out of there with as much shield advantage and energy advantage as I would have liked, but it's alright. So we do have to bring our Galvantula in against the Alola Marowak. Normally this is a terrible matchup, and it still is a pretty bad matchup to be in, but the Discharge is still going to deal some pretty solid damage there, and we do have a little bit of extra energy on our Alola Marowak from earlier in the match, so we were able to get the Bone Club after whittling its health down a good amount. So we're going to go for the Bone Club now just to finish off this Shadow Gardevoir. It's not going to be able to take very much damage, but it certainly will dish out lots of damage if it is not resisted. So we're going to see Politoed and Mandibuzz here. This is a pretty good lead for us. We see a little bit of lag there. I decided to let them catch up a little bit so that it's fair. And we are going to have a charge move coming our way. So we're going to see an Aerial Ace, and we are seeing a little bit of lag again. And now they are... Mandibuzz is just going tons of fast moves at once there. That was... I don't know what happened there, but decided to keep going with the match. We decided at the end that it did not impact the results of the match. That was still weird. Mandibuzz, I guess, was waiting and then threw several fast moves at once. It was... That's weird. But we are able to go for just Weather Balls here, and we are going to go down here. Not spend a shield. Our opponent hasn't spent a shield either, but we're able to come in with our Ninetales now and just deal tons of damage. Unfortunately, they do have the Shadow Gardevoir, which is going to be much more potent when shields are up, because we're not able to just take it out with a charge move. And so it's going to shield the first Weather Ball, not going to shield the second Weather Ball, which was fantastic for us because we were able to finish taking it out, and they have Alola Marowak in the back. We don't get to the Psyshock on our Ninetales, but that is completely fine because we do have the flying wall here. Mandibuzz is going to be able to do tons of work to this and is going to be able to take anything that Marowak throws at it. Gonna throw the Dark Pulse now, and we can just go ahead and farm down. We are going to shield once because we do have to use our shields at some point. And we're going to go for the Aerial Ace now, which does take it out. And we have just enough energy to almost go for the Aerial Ace. We're going to shield once and go for an Aerial Ace here. We expect this to get the shield, and we do, so we can now go for one more Aerial Ace, which we do get there first, which is nice. And this should be finishing off the Mandibuzz. Not quite, actually. It lives on 1 HP, and it goes for an Aerial Ace, but that is not going to be enough, and we're able to take it out there. So GG's to our opponent there. And we now have round 5 against Feeling This One. So we start off with an Alolan Ninetales mirror matchup, and it's snowing outside, but it's not quite a mirror matchup because our opponent's Ninetales is running Charm as their fast move. So that's going to be dealing a lot more damage, but it's not going to be generating energy as quickly. So we are going to be trying to go for the Psyshock. Our Psyshocks to deal as much damage as possible, and they are going to be going for Charm as their main method of damage. And we just barely get to a third charge move here after baiting a shield out with our Weather Ball. We were actually able to flip that matchup, which is normally not the greatest matchup to be in. We are able to flip it, and so now we can decide to come in with Vigoroth here. Vigoroth is going to be our best answer to Pelipper out of the two options that we have. And Weather Ball is still going to hurt, but so is our Body Slam. So we're going to be able to go with Body Slam here, but the Pelipper does have that one wing attack lead that was able to get from taking out our Alolan Ninetales earlier in the battle. So we decide to let Politoed go down, to let Vigoroth go down and bring in our Politoed. Just go straight for our Weather Ball, since our Weather Ball is going to be able to outpace this Pelipper. And we see Regirock in the back. And this is the best spot for our Politoed to be in. Very glad that it wasn't a Venusaur from our opponent here. Our opponent does have Venusaur, Alolan Marowak, Alolan Ninetales, as we saw earlier, Pelipper, as we saw before, Regirock, as we're seeing now, and Unova Stunfisk. So this was great to have lined up. My team is very weak to Regirock. There's really only one true counter to Regirock in Politoed. Vigoroth can do okay, but it's still not the greatest matchup to be in because Regirock is going to have Focus Blast. So we now have Alolan Ninetales against Politoed, and since this is Charm Alolan Ninetales, it is going to be a better matchup than Ninetales. So we're just going to try to go for Weather Ball as much as possible, and hopefully we can outpace the Charm damage coming through. We get to the charge move at the same exact time. I decide not to shield so that I can bring in the Pokemon that we have in the back and try to take out what they have. So we do see the Venusaur now, because I recognized earlier on that CMP tie, if I decided to burn a shield, our opponent could also burn a shield, and then we would not have as many shields in play. And for this Regirock here, we definitely would rather have shields up, because that is the charge moves are going to be Regirock's main source of damage, since Lock On is great for generating energy, but it's not going to be doing much. Dark Pulses, just trying to whittle this thing down as much as possible. We do have Vigoroth in the back, but our switch timer is not yet up, and we do still have the Venusaur in the back. So we are going to try to swap out as soon as possible, try to preserve our Mandibuzz for the Venusaur later on, and we go for the Body Slam, which almost takes out the Venusaur because our opponent decides not to shield, and this Frenzy Plant is going to take us out, but because they decided not to shield, we are able to actually snarl all the way down. We are going to take a charge move here because they had the shield. We were not able to throw the charge move, and Mandibuzz is so thick, it just takes that Stone Edge like, not like it's nothing. I mean, it still hurt, but it didn't go down. It stayed and was able to pull out that clutch win there. So we're going to go on to game 3 now, and we see the Alolan Ninetales mirror again. We're going to see how things have changed. I tried to go for the Weather Ball to bait the shield there, and our opponent was not having any of that. They just decided to shield early, and they are going to just completely farm us down, getting as much energy as possible. But because they got greedy there, we were able to throw the Weather Ball, but they can just shield, and now they have tons and tons of energy. And so we are going to want to consider shielding ourselves because of the amount of pressure that this Ninetales can apply to what we are bringing in the back. So we see a Venusaur, not what we want to see when we have a Vigoroth, and in the back we have a Politoed, but we did have a little bit of extra energy, and so we were able to go for Body Slams, and they do swap out, and we see the Regirock. Our opponent is still up 1 shield. So we'll see how this matchup goes. We are just going to be going for Weather Ball as much as possible. It does deal over half to this Regirock, and so 1 more is going to take it out. We get hit by the Focus Blast, which does most of our health, but is not quite enough to take us out. So we're going to go for the Weather Ball, and they decide to let it go down because they know their Venusaur can come in and get all of the energy in the world, and it can just shield and completely farm us down, and then go for the Frenzy Plant against our Vigoroth. But we have the charge move. Is this going to be enough? It is just barely enough to be able to take out our Vigoroth, so we are not able to pull that 3rd game out. Very well played by our opponent, recognizing that Politoed was most likely to make an appearance because we needed it to cover Regirock, and so bringing that Venusaur in the back. It was very well played. So our final round here up against Sir Corey, we're going to start off with Galvantula, and they're going to swap out into Frostless. So we're going to throw the Lunge, and that is absolutely fantastic that we were able to get a shield off of that. We are going to take a Shadow Ball, but it's not going to do as much damage because of the Lunge debuff. So we're going to build up some extra energy and throw our Weather Ball right before this Frostless can get to a charge move. Go for another charge move, but we were a little bit late there, and so I needed to spend a shield. I decided to undercharge, and it didn't really work out. I was trying to get a little bit of extra energy to try to compensate for being greedy earlier. And so we're going to go for the Earthquake as soon as possible. Our opponent knew that we would not go down to a single Weather Ball, so they have to get to their own Earthquake. I decided to bring in Vigoroth, just in case they have a Regirock in the back. But that was super dangerous, and that was a big gamble because they have tons of energy on this Politoed, and we are going to have to spend this last shield here, which we actually don't because we can come back in with Galvantula, and it is Melmetal, which that is just going to be devastating for us. We are going to have to shield. This Rock Slide would absolutely take us out. We are going to be able to hit back hard with the Discharge here. Melmetal is not very bulky, but it still is able to hang on. And we go for the Weather Ball. We are actually able to make it in time before the Melmetal can get to a Rock Slide. But now we have our opponent's Politoed. We CMP tie on the charge move. Not what we want to see, and they're able to take us out. We were low enough, but we actually live on a sliver of health. That is unbelievable. I can't even see that health. Wow, that was... Wow. So we start off the next game, Mandibuzz into Frostless. This matchup can kind of go either way. It favors Mandibuzz if we can bait the shield correctly, but it can go either way because Frostless is going to be putting out so much damage with Avalanche, And Mandibuzz is very tanky, but it's still not great. So our opponent does decide to burn both shields, and I am realizing, okay, I'm not going to be able to get to a Dark Pulse to be able to KO this Frostless before it will get to the Avalanche to be able to take me out, so it's not worth spending our second shield, just because it's going to be a losing matchup anyway. So we might as well take the shield advantage. We do come in with Vigoroth, and we end up taking a lot of hurt for it, and Xylas is not what we want to see in the back here, because it is going to be resisting our Weather Ball and just adding up the damage with Dragon Breath and Body Slam here. We're going to go for our Earthquake here, and that does take out most of its health, and then we swap in our Mandibuzz to try to get some energy, but that didn't really work out well, did it? Just gave the Melmetal some extra farm. They decide to go for Superpower, and that means we are going to, for sure, be able to one-shot it with Power. And we take the Body Slam here. Our opponent having 1 HP in a dream. These matchups have been incredibly close so far. That attempted sack with Mandibuzz did not go as planned. So we see a fantastic lead for us coming into game 3 here, the tiebreaker game. And so they are going to bring in their Politoed. We're going to bring in our Galvantula here. And we're going to go for the lunge, which does get a shield and is going to lower their attack. We do get that piggyback there, which is absolutely huge. So return is something I have not seen except in this battle, which was a very cool move to see there. That did a lot more than a Weather Ball would have for sure. And so the discharge we are able to go for. We are not able to get to the second one, but we still have a bunch of damage on this Melmetal. The Melmetal does have a lot of energy, so we do have to watch out for that, but it is at lower health now. So we see it use Superpower, which lowers its attack and defense, but deals some pretty heavy damage to us. But most importantly, we know that Melmetal has spent some of its energy, and so if we can keep 1 shield for our Vigoroth, we know we have a ticket to be able to win this. We are unfortunately going to have to spend our shield here to take out this Frostless, but we have the Weather Ball here, which is able to almost take it out. And I come in with Vigoroth here. I tried to get the Shadow Ball, and it ended up being an Avalanche. But luckily for us, the Avalanche alone was not able to take out Vigoroth. We didn't get to charge up a ton of energy, so we just had to go for the Body Slam on the Melmetal, but it was enough to take it out, and we could counter down Frostless. So incredible battles. Well played to my opponent there. GG's. We had a 5-way tie in this tournament for first place. All 5 of us went 5 wins and 1 loss to be able to tie for gold in this tournament. And so shout outs to Nezabethan, R6 Racing, Vincent Instinct, and Haskellin2. I am so sorry. You'll have to let me know how to pronounce that if you do end up seeing this video. But congratulations. Your battling is obviously better than my pronunciation skills. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. It's last month's meta, but Vortex Cup is coming soon, and I hope you still enjoyed the battles. They were still great battles, and those are timeless. I mean, they're not the timeless cup, but you get what I mean. I hope you do. Anyways, go ahead and drop a like down below if you did enjoy this video. Subscribe for more content because I will have that Vortex Cup video recap coming probably in a week or so from the time this video is posted. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And until next time, bye!